Today we're looking at the green cards, and when we're working with the green cards, what we're doing is we're finding angles on these cards. So once again, I recommend that you draw a picture in your box to be able to label the triangle. And I first of all forgot to write the right angle, but as we draw our line across, what we see is that this is the hypotenuse. Across from our question mark is the opposite, which means that our third side here is the adjacent. So we have information about adjacent and opposite, which is going to be the tangent function. And as we fill this in a little bit better here, so we're going to do tangent of our angle equals opposite divided by the adjacent. And what we have to do on our calculators or Desmos, and remember, you need to be in degrees, but on the calculator, we have to press second tan, which is 11 divided by 15. And if we're going to round to the nearest hundredth, it's going to, our angle is going to be 36.25 degrees. Because there's a 3 here, which is 5 or less than 5, so we keep that 5 as is. Here is Desmos, and I just want to show you here on here that when we go to the functions button, there's where our trig functions are, but our inverse trig functions are down here, so we'd have to do tangent of 11 divided by 15. And I should get the same value as long as I'm in degrees, and there it is, 36.25 in there. But functions is the button that we need to use on Desmos. If we look at problem number 8, here's our green card, here's the picture, and we're going to label, and the 37 is going to be the hypotenuse. Across from the question mark is the opposite, which means that our adjacent is here. But the values that we know hypotenuse and we know opposite, and the function that has hypotenuse and opposite in it is going to be the sine. So when we fill this in, it's going to be sine of question mark equals opposite divided by hypotenuse. And I'm going to do a little bit better job of writing on this one to indicate that we use the inverse function to find an angle. And then we type it in. There's our inverse button, 36 divided by 37. And we get 76.648, but because the 8 is 5 or higher, we're going to have 76.65 degrees. Problem number 9. Draw the picture, label the picture. Hypotenuse. Across from the question mark is the opposite, which means our 4 is the adjacent, and we know an adjacent and a hypotenuse, which means that we're going to be using the cosine function because that's the function that has both of those in there. So it's going to be the cosine of question mark equals the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. We're going to use our inverse function to find the angle. There's our inverse function. And we get 72.079. So our angle is going to be 72.08. We're looking at the 9 to determine to round that 7 up to an 8.